Welcome to Easy English Story, where powerful lives become easy English lessons. Let's dive into today's inspiring journey. Albert Einstein, the man who rewrote the universe. Introduction. In the quiet town of Ulm, in the kingdom of Württemberg in the German Empire, a baby was born on March 14, 1879. His name was Albert Einstein, a name that would one day become synonymous with genius. But no one could have imagined that the child who spoke late, failed in school, appeared lost in thought would go on to become the most celebrated physicist in history. Albert Einstein didn't just change physics. He transformed how we see the world, space, time, and even ourselves. His theories reshaped science, while his words touched the soul of humanity. But behind the iconic wild hair, wrinkled eyes, and gentle smile was a life filled with struggles, passion, rebellion, exile, and triumph. This is the real story of Albert Einstein. Not just the scientist, but the dreamer, the rebel, the refugee, and the humanist. Chapter 1. The Quiet Genius. Albert Einstein was a strange child. Unlike other children, he rarely spoke and showed little interest in playing with toys. His parents, Hermann and Pauline Einstein, even feared he might have a learning disability. He didn't speak fluently until the age of 4, but he was always curious. One day, when Albert was 5, his father gave him a compass. As he stared at the needle mysteriously pointing north, something sparked inside him. Something deeply hidden had to be behind things, Einstein later recalled. That compass awakened a lifelong obsession with the invisible forces of the universe. Though he was gifted in mathematics and physics, Einstein didn't enjoy the strict discipline of German schools. He hated rote memorization and questioned authority, even his teachers. At the age of 15, he dropped out of school and moved to Italy, joining his family who had moved there for work. Despite failing the entrance exam to Zurich Polytechnic the first time, Einstein was determined. He studied hard, passed the next time, and enrolled in the prestigious Swiss school, where he would eventually graduate as a teacher in physics and mathematics. Chapter 2. The patent clerk with a universe in his mind. After graduation, Einstein struggled to find a teaching job. In 1902, he took a job as a technical assistant at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. It wasn't a prestigious job, but it gave him something even more valuable: time. While reviewing patents by day, Einstein was solving the universe's mysteries by night. Then came 1905, what historians call Einstein's miracle year. In that single year, Einstein published 4 revolutionary papers on the photoelectric effect, which introduced the concept of quanta, energy packets that laid the foundation for quantum mechanics; on Brownian motion, which proved the existence of atoms; on special relativity, which introduced the idea that time and space are not absolute; and the most famous equation in history, E equals mc energy, equals mass times the speed of light squared. He was just 26 years old. These papers shook the scientific world. In 1 year, a patent clerk rewrote physics. But fame didn't come instantly. It would take a few more years before the world would recognize the genius behind the equations. Chapter 3. A Star is Born. In 1915, Einstein completed his general theory of relativity, a deeper and more complex theory than special relativity. It proposed that gravity wasn't a force, but rather a curvature in the fabric of space-time caused by mass. His theory was bold, elegant, and untested. But in 1919, a solar eclipse offered the perfect opportunity. British astronomer Arthur Eddington led an expedition to observe starlight bending around the sun, exactly what Einstein's theory predicted. The results confirmed Einstein's theory. He instantly became a global celebrity. Newspapers around the world declared, "Lights all askew in the heavens. Einstein's theory triumphs." Einstein wasn't just famous, he was mythologized. He was invited to royal courts, universities, and scientific institutions around the world. The man with messy hair and mismatched socks had become a symbol of genius. But fame never distracted him. He remained focused on uncovering deeper truths about the universe. Chapter 4. Love, Loss, and Loneliness. Einstein's personal life was far more turbulent than his academic brilliance. He married Mileva Marek, a fellow student at Zurich Polytechnic. In 1903, they had 2 sons, Hans Albert and Edward. Before marriage, they had a daughter named Liesel, whose fate remains a mystery. Some believe she died young. Others say she was adopted. Einstein's dedication to science strained his marriage. He could be cold and distant. The couple divorced in 1919, and Einstein later married his cousin Elsa. His son Edward suffered from schizophrenia, a heartbreaking reality that Einstein struggled to cope with. Though he loved his children, his life was mostly absorbed in scientific thought and public affairs. Despite being surrounded by admiration, Einstein often felt alone. He once said, "It is strange to be known so universally and yet to be so lonely." Chapter 5. A Voice for Humanity. Einstein wasn't just a physicist. He was a moral voice in a chaotic century. He was a pacifist during World War I, opposing violence when most scientists were developing weapons. In the 1930s, as Adolf Hitler rose to power, Einstein, who was Jewish, became a fierce critic of fascism. His books were burned by the Nazis. His citizenship was revoked. He fled Germany and settled in the United States in 1933. He accepted a position at Princeton University in New Jersey. There he continued his work but also became a prominent public intellectual. Ironically, the man who despised war wrote a letter in 1939 to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, warning that Nazi Germany might build an atomic bomb. That letter helped initiate the Manhattan Project, the U.S. effort to build nuclear weapons. But Einstein deeply regretted it. He later said, "Had I known that the Germans would not succeed in developing an atomic bomb, I would have done nothing." After the war, he became a passionate advocate for nuclear disarmament, civil rights, and world peace. He supported the formation of a world government and stood against racism in America. Einstein's heart was as vast as his mind. Chapter 6. The Philosopher of Science. Einstein was never satisfied with existing knowledge. He questioned everything, even his own theories. He spent the last decades of his life searching for a unified field theory, one single theory that could explain gravity and electromagnetism together. He called it the search for God's thoughts. Though he never succeeded, his relentless pursuit inspired generations of physicists. He once remarked, "The important thing is not to stop questioning." Einstein believed in a rational universe, guided by laws and logic. He famously rejected some interpretations of quantum mechanics, saying God does not play dice with the universe. He was a scientist, but also a poet of reason, blending imagination with logic in ways that changed how science itself is done. Chapter 7: Final Days and Everlasting Legacy. Albert Einstein passed away on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76 in Princeton, New Jersey. His brain was preserved by a pathologist without family permission, a controversial decision that later sparked scientific and ethical debates. But Einstein himself was never obsessed with fame or legacy. He had once said, "I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It is time to go. Though the man died, the legacy lives on." His name has become a synonym for genius. His image is iconic. His equations, especially E=mc, are among the most recognized in the world. From GPS technology to nuclear energy, from black hole theory to the expansion of the universe, Einstein's ideas form the backbone of modern science. But perhaps more importantly, Einstein taught us to dream, to wonder, and to never stop asking why. The universe remembers. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world." His story reminds us that brilliance isn't always loud, that curiosity can change the world, that questioning authority, thinking differently, and staying true to your inner voice can lead to the most profound discoveries. Einstein wasn't born a genius. He became one through wonder, rebellion, persistence, and love for the universe. His story is not just about science. It's about being human, a reminder that no matter how small we may seem, our thoughts, dreams, and questions can echo through eternity. And as we look up at the stars, bending ever so slightly through the fabric of space-time, we remember the man who taught us to see the invisible, Albert Einstein.